Minasan konnichiwa, and welcome to the Board Game Dojo's Import or Not series, where we take a look at games from Asia and let you know if they're worth your hard-earned money to import or not. Today, we are taking a look at Saashi and Saashi's Come Sail Away. Yes, I know, the song gets stuck in my head every time I say these words or see this game box as well. Is this game an extravagant vacation away from daily life, or should this game really just be sent out to sea, never to return? Let's figure that out on today's Import or Not. This is Come Sail Away. Alright, so this is what your board is going to start off looking like as you begin the game of Come Sail Away. Now, I'm not going to explain every single rule in this game and every single board spot, but I am going to go over a general overview so you know at least what a turn looks like. And this game has a really good English rulebook, so you should be easily able to learn this game from it. Now, just to go over what a couple of the things are that are important. This is kind of your player board. I always call it a player board, but it's actually made up of individual tiles that you'll be flipping over throughout the game. This is your sideboards here, which is the front and back of the ship. You'll start with nothing there, but throughout the game, you'll fill it up. And I'll explain how you do that a bit later. This is the luggage track, and you'll be able to move that forward. I'll tell you how in a little bit, but that is what this is here. And these are the side rooms that you can acquire throughout the game. Now, how your turn begins is you'll actually receive a card from the person to your right, and you'll draw a card from the draw deck. And so these are the two choices of cards that you are going to be able to play this turn. Now, you need to play passengers in this order and adjacent to each other somewhere on your board here. It can go either from left to right or right to left. So for example, if I were to pick this card here, I could go something like black, yellow, black, green. Ooh, I probably don't want to do that. Or I could go black, yellow, black, green. Now, these rooms here all need to be in that color. So this one needs to have blue passengers. This one needs to have red passengers. You also have advanced rooms in some of the ship, and these will change every game that you play. But for the basic game, which is what I have it set it up as, you have this room that needs 2 pairs of the same color passenger, and this one needs 4 different colors of passengers in this room. Now, there's a couple of things that'll help you out or give you bonuses throughout the game. One is if you look at the card, each card has one passenger that has the luggage spot on it. This means that if you put them in their correct room, then you'll get to move up on the luggage track. So for this one, I need this passenger in this room. So I'm going to try really hard to put them here. If you do that, you'll move up on the luggage track. And now is a good time to kind of describe what the luggage track would look like, because the luggage track can give you different things. It can make it so that you can take one of these rooms and put them somewhere on your ship, which is how you get extra rooms to fill up and get bonuses for. It can also allow you to choose one meeple from the supply and put it anywhere on your board. Or it can allow you to free up one of the spaces in the grand staircase. And this seems like a really good time to describe what this is, because this is basically a really helpful spot right in the middle of the ship. And its usefulness is actually best described by what happens if you cannot place a passenger somewhere. So let's say that in this case, I have this card again. I want to go black, yellow, black, green. Now, green cannot go in this yellow room. So instead of placing it here, I would lose a point and have to put that meeple here. But instead, I can put them here. This is the grand staircase. Now, you can only use the grand staircase for 3 different color meeples at the same time. So I could put green instead of here, or losing a point, I could put them right here. But in this spot, that means I can only put green here. So the luggage track bonus of moving one meeple from here to somewhere else on the ship allows you to free up that spot. Now, you are trying to complete these rooms some quicker than others, because when you complete a room, you'll be able to flip the tile over, and as you can see on the back, this one will be worth 5 points for completing the room. However, the advanced rooms can score differently based on which advanced rooms you have in the game. It also matters how quick you complete these advanced rooms, because the first person to complete the advanced room will actually get to have a bonus 3 points, and they will take that from the middle. Note that once you complete a room, if I say wanted to put one here, let's say black, yellow, black, green, this counts as not being able to place the room. So again, I would be forced to either put it on the -1 space or put it in the grand staircase. So be careful how fast you complete those rooms. So in summation, your turn boils down to look at your 2 cards that you have, pick one of them, put the meeples down that are either from left to right or right to left, claim any bonuses that you got, like any luggage track things or any room completion bonuses, and then pass the unused card to the person on your left, draw a new card, and do it again. You'll do this 12 times, and whoever scores the most points based on room completion bonuses, objective bonuses, luggage track bonuses, any passengers that are left on any uncompleted rooms, minus any passengers you weren't able to place in a room, and whoever has the most points wins. And that's basically how to play Come Sail Away. Let me clean this up, and I'll tell you what we think of this game. So let's start this review off where most other people are as well. This is by far the biggest Saashi and Saashi game box we've seen so far. An absolute behemoth even compared to not just their card games, but their other board games that they've released. Even their biggest one, Let's Make a Bus Route, pales in comparison. So throughout this review, let's see if it justifies that box size, and let's start off with what's actually in the box. Upon opening the box, you're going to be met with a load of components: player boards, side player boards, meeples, containers to hold meeples, all sorts of plastic bags to hold everything together. Okay, so there's a lot of components in there, which kind of makes sense why the box is so big. It kind of necessitates it, right? Okay, so we've seen what's in the box physically, but how about what's in the box mentally speaking? And this is where the first real paradox comes into play. Because what Saashi and Saashi have been really good at doing throughout the time they've been publishers is actually making a big game into a tiny box. Every one of their packages seems to pack quite a bit of game and replayability into those boxes. And this one almost does the opposite, where it has a really big box, but it feels a lot smaller. Part of that is just in how easy it is to teach the game. Something that we talked about in our Newsboys reviews is that we almost kind of expect this thematic integration from Saashi and Saashi, and we were disappointed that it didn't have it as much in that game. But this game, they are back into form. Even though the game kind of abstracts down into, okay, you have a card and you need to put it in that order somewhere on your ship, it actually makes thematic sense as to what you're actually doing, and this makes it easier to learn. All right, these passengers want to go in their color room because that's their room on the ship. And if you can get their luggage there, then that's great. You're running a cruise ship directly, because I definitely wouldn't want to be a passenger on the ship in which I give my luggage to somebody and then it doesn't arrive in my room. That's cool. The advanced rooms didn't need to be as thematic as they are, but they are. The couples want to sit together in the dining room. In the theater, you have the layered seating that actually looks like a theater room. All of this with art that matches really well with Takako Takarai's style that actually makes it look like you're kind of in the golden age of cruise liners. All put together a nice package that is not only pleasing to work with, but pleasing to the eye. And let's go to that next, that pleasing to work with idea, the mechanics themselves. This is actually where we get to our second paradox of what's going on, the fact that it both feels relaxing and stressful at the exact same time. Because it's a puzzler, it can feel stressful when your options are limited. You're hoping for only certain cards, because if it's any kind of other card, then you're not going to be able to do anything and you're going to lose points. For sometimes, you are just picking the better of 2 bad options. Combine that with the fact that you want to get objectives before everybody else does, and the fact you only have 12 turns, and every single one of the 12 turns feels essential to winning the game. But you're also partnering that with the almost relaxing feeling you have while playing this game. You are doing your own little puzzle, and other people are not going to mess that up. You are in your own little world, own little cruise ship, putting the passengers down and trying to make sure that they're having a happy cruise. Sure, in the second half of the game, you have the stresses and the pressures of trying to get those objectives, and maybe you're running out of options, but in the first half of the game, you're just happy and having a joyful time getting a card. All right, I'm going to put the passengers down. Lovely. Everybody's happy, right? And one of the best parts for us is that because all of the actions are simultaneous, no matter how many players you play this with, you're going to get a big box full of components, these really nice pieces of art, and all of these pleasantries and stresses in less than 30 minutes. Not really what you expect from a game box that is this big. Even during your first game, it's not going to take much longer than that because of how well the rulebook lays it out and how well it teaches it to whoever is learning the game. Even the game that requires the teach is going to take less than 45 minutes. But saying all these positives, let's take a brief step back and talk about the negatives, because this game is not going to be for everyone. For one thing, if you're looking for a game full of interaction, well, you're going to have to look elsewhere because this game really doesn't have much. I think theoretically, there's supposed to be this interactivity driver of who can finish the objectives first, and sometimes this happens, but oftentimes it really doesn't because A, they're not really worth that many points that it's worth an additional stressor over, but B, in the second half of the game, I am much more interested in trying to figure out which of the two cards I have in my hand are actually playable. Or maybe that's just that I'm not thinking about it properly, but the fact is that other people that we played it with also thought we're thinking the same thing of, oh, I forgot there was even objectives to do. I was too busy like in my own headspace looking down at my board. The other bit of interactivity is just getting mad at the person next to you for not passing their card quick enough. Let's go, Shota. It's not that hard. You have two cards to pick from. Let's go. The other thing that we were thinking about this game is just we're not really sure how long this game has to stay in our collection. Yes, it's a fun experience, but there's not really that much variability from game to game. Sure, there's the advanced rooms that can switch every game, and that is a really good thing. But ultimately, because there's no interactivity, as we talked about before, the puzzle remains mostly the same. Sure, in this game in the top right corner of the ship, you want 3 of one color and 1 of a different color. And in the next game, maybe you want 2 pairs of 2 different colors. But ultimately, they feel similar. And that's not a knock. I think that the whole point of the game is that it is a puzzler and that you're trying to get better at the game, and that's why there's a solo version of this game as well that feels much the same as it does with 2, 3, 4 players. And that's actually a really good segue into the final part of our video because I actually kind of misled you. I made it seem like this review was all about justifying how big the box is, but really it's a separate issue than that needs to be justified, and that is the price. This game is not only the biggest box for Saashi and Saashi, it is by far their most expensive, and Saashi and Saashi isn't that cheap to begin with. This game comes in at $50, and that means that to import this game, being conservative in my guesses, it's probably going to cost you something like $70 or $75. So this game better be pretty dang good in order to justify that price. And I do think that for some people, it is going to be able to justify that price, and some it's not. So let's kind of review what we talked about to see which camp you belong in. I think this game is going to be worth it for people who are very interested in getting better at a system and getting high scores. People where it's like, I do want to beat you in this competitive game, but I also just want to see myself improving and getting higher scores each game. For solo gamers that like that high score style of solo game, this is going to be for you. The setup is not too long that I think you should be able to do it all right. That is going to be the type of person that really enjoys this game, the person that finds delight in this game, the kind of person like 2 people on the Dice Tower that put this game in their top 10s of 2023. But we also think there's going to be a lot of people like Suma-chan and I that are going to enjoy our time with this game, but probably be ready to move on after 5 or 10 plays. And you need to figure out if that kind of game is going to be worth 70 or 75 US dollars for you. Is that worth the import for you? At the end of the day, we are going to give this game a 1-star recommendation, meaning that if you're looking for something like this, then we think it's a good one. This game has so many things that we like from Saashi and Saashi. The thematic integration, the art style that works perfectly with this game, and the mechanics that feel strategic yet easy to learn. And yet, saying those positive things, because of the price, we can only recommend it for some people. Yes, there are going to be some people that enjoy the puzzler, the thing I want to get better at it, and so the puzzle doesn't change that much, and you're staying on your own board so you can get better at it. And yet other people are going to see that exact thing as something they don't want. If I want people over at my house, I want to interact with them. And this game does not do that. At the end of the day, I hope that this video review helped you figure out which camp you belong in. I think that this game is a great return to form for Saashi and Saashi. And I hope at least that you get to check it out and play it at least once. Well, thank you so much for watching today. Arigatou gozaimashita. Until next time, ja ne!